verse 42. Let the Most High speak. He said, then will I remember my covenant, my contract, my agreement with Jacob, and also my covenant, my contract, or my agreement with Isaac, and also my covenant, my contract, or my agreement with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. The land also shall be left of them, and shall enjoy her Sabbaths, while she lieth desolate without them. Hear that? Lying desolate without the 12 tribes of Israel being in the land of Israel. And they shall accept of the punishment of their iniquity. What else we gonna do? We got to accept the punishment of our iniquity, our wickedness, because they despise my judgments, and because their soul abhorred my statutes. Now we are scattered among all these nations in the land of our enemies until this day. But throughout these scriptures, you hear solutions. In us humbling ourselves before the Most High, fearing the Most High and keeping His commandments. Verse 44. And yet for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, you keep hearing this over and over again. You don't see that we were scattered among the land of our friends. It said we're going to be scattered among the land of their enemies. I will not cast them away. Hear that? And yet for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away. I thought they said the Israelites was cast away. I thought we was done away with. He said, we in the land of our enemies, in the four corners of the earth. He said, I will not cast them away. That's why Paul said, the Most High has not, cast away His people, which He foreknew. Here it is right here. He's telling you. The Most High telling you. So who is that speaking? The Most High. So you got a problem with, you got to deal with the Most High. He said, I will not cast them away. Neither will I abhor them. Say, neither will I hate. He ain't going to hate us. To destroy them utterly. And to break my covenant with them. Somebody got to be here as an Israelite to accept this covenant, this contract, and this agreement that we have with the Most High that He made with us. Abraham to Isaac to Jacob to the 12 tribes of Israel. People got to be here to accept that. And all y'all talking about the covenants with all nations, you a lie. You a lie. Hear what he said? To destroy them utterly, He's never going to destroy us utterly. He's going to always have that remnant, that ransom, that redeemed, the justified, the glorified, the 1/3 of the 12 tribes of Israel, and to break my covenant with them. Hear that? Moses said He ain't going to break His covenant with us. For I am the Most High, their power. There is a personal possessive pronoun showing ownership. Point blank. But I will for their sakes remember the covenant of their ancestors. Like He just said, to Jacob, to Isaac, to Abraham. To Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob. Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. But I will for their sakes remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. That's in the sight of the heathen. All 12 tribes. And that's why we look at this. You got to look at what he's saying, because all 12 tribes was in the Egyptian captivity. You see? That's why He's going to redeem all 12 tribes. That's why He always say that I brought forth out of the land of Egypt, because we were all together. All 12 tribes were together in the Egyptian captivity. Most of the other captivities, we have a remnant of the 9.5 tribes with us, but it's mainly Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that you read pretty much in this Bible, because the northern tribes were gone into captivity for over 100 years under the Assyrians. You see? It says, and they got into idolatry to the utmost. Dealing with idolatry. It says, But he's talking about all 12 tribes when he says, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the heathen, that I might be their power. I am the Most High. See, these are the statutes and judgments and laws that y'all don't like to hear about, which the Most High made between him and the children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. Hallelujah. So now, going back to Baruch, the 4th chapter. It says in verse 13, they knew not his statutes, nor walked in the ways of his commandments, nor trod in the paths of discipline in his righteousness, which represents keeping the laws of the Most High. That's, to be righteous, you got to keep the laws of the Most High. Let them that dwell about Zion come, and remember ye the captivity of my sons and daughters, that the land is saying, which the everlasting hath brought upon him, because we broke his laws, statutes, and commandments. For he hath brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation, and of a strange language, who neither reverence old man nor pity child. Isn't that what they told us? Told them in Isaiah 47 chapter. Well, let's go to the curses. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 48. That's what he said. Remember I told you from Deuteronomy the 16th verse, Deuteronomy 28, the 16th verse to the 68th verses are the curses that will befall the 12 tribes of Israel. That's why we know we, the 12 tribes of Israel, here go one of the curses. That's what it says. Just like the Baruch, the 4th chapter just told us, this is what it's saying here. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. It's Deuteronomy 28, 48. Which the Most High shall send against thee in hunger. You want something to eat? You got to go get it from your enemies, no matter how you look at it. From your enemies. Majority of us. Because where our supermarkets at? Where our land that we have? You got black farmers, but what do they have to do to be able to do what they do? Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Most High shall send against thee in hunger. You know, we got farmers destroying the crops right now, paying them 1.5% more than what they would get at the market to destroy the crops. And saying that they bring it to the market, they'll get 35 cents less a pound. But you're going to serve your enemies in hunger. You want something to eat, you got to get it from your enemy or enemies. And in thirst, you want some water, we buying water from our enemies. And nakedness, clothes. We don't have any cotton fields. What are they at? In abundance that we growing the cotton, taking it to the text mills, making our materials and so forth, to be able to make our own clothes and so forth, all that. From the seed, planting our own seeds in the ground, allowing our own crops to grow up, have our own textile mills and so forth. Where they at? He's telling you. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Most High shall send against thee for breaking his laws, statutes, and commandments. In hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. Everything you want, you got to get it from who? Your enemies. Because the Most High said it's going to be like this, because we broke his commandments. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. Here we go. I'll put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. A yoke of iron upon thy neck. Until he have destroyed thee. And now we destroyed for lack of knowledge. Well, we got to come back to this truth of the Most High. The Most High shall bring a nation against thee. This is prophecy that he told us when he brought us out of the Egyptian captivity. In the wilderness, he said, all 12 tribes, mind you. He said, the Most High shall bring a nation against thee from far, Isn't that what was prophesied in Baruch? From fire, from the end of the earth. And America was established when? July 4th, 1776, something like that. As swift as the eagle flies, then you know the symbol that they're going to be operating under. A nation whose tongue or language thou shalt not understand. Isn't that what we just read? Baruch 4 and 15, for he hath brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation, and of a strange language. Deuteronomy 28:49, the Most High shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, like way over here in this western hemisphere, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue or language thou shalt not understand. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. What did it say? Baruch 4:15. See, you Protestant church took this out of the Bible. This 14 books that was in the original King James 6:11 Bible. For he had brought a nation upon them from far. Same thing. A shameless nation, adding to the point of their shameless nation. And of a strange language that we didn't understand. Who neither reverence old man nor pity child. Isn't that the same thing that we see? Verse 50, a nation of fierce countenance. Shameless nation. Fierce countenance though. Which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. There it is. Baruch 4:16. They have carried away the dear beloved children of the widow, children of the land of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, and left her that was alone, desolate, without daughters. But what can I help you? So the land is telling us, how can I help you? How can the land help us? For he that brought these plagues upon you will deliver you from the hands of your enemies. Hear that? The Most High that brought these plagues upon us going to deliver us from the hands of our enemies that he sold us into. Go your way, O my children, go your way, for I am left desolate. Look at Hosea, the 9th chapter, in the 17th verse. Hosea 9:17. My power will cast them away, because they did not hearken unto him, and they shall be wanderers among the nations. Hear that? That's what we did. Most High cast us away because we was dealing with idolatry. I mean, Jeroboam. Remember when Moses went up into the mountain to get the commandments? When he came back down, the people in Aaron had Aaron make a calf. All 12 tribes experienced this. And Moses grinded that sucker up, threw it in water, and made them drink it. It was gold, because he took all the gold earrings, took all from the people, the boys, the girls, everybody, and grinded it up. Remember, we got all kind of riches. But understand, we got all kind of riches from the Egyptians before we left. So we spoiled them. Like we're going to get all the riches from the places where we scattered now. As it is written. Obadiah 17 says that. We're going to own all their possessions. So we knew that was wrong. Moses had to go up and get the laws again. So when the kingdom was split, Jeroboam made 2 calves. This who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Well, the Most High said, get rid of them. He got rid of them. That's a lot of reason why they say that Israelites been cast away. Because they definitely don't want Judah, the head tribe, to find out who they are. You know, you kill the head, body shall fall, right? No, but it's too late. The Most High got his hand on this, in this. But they're going to try. That's why Mashiach Shai said, look, y'all better understand. Well, you better get on board with this truth before it's too late. He said, look, Matthew 24, can't bring it out enough. 22, he said, and except those days should be shortened that we living in now, there should no flesh be saved. You better look at them guide stones in Georgia that the Illuminati erected. They talking about they want 500 million people on this earth. They can control them. But the Mashiach Shai said, through the power of the Most High, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. You hear that? If the Most High don't shorten these days, he said, ain't no flesh gonna be saved. Ain't nobody gonna be saved. But for the elect's sake, elects are the 12 tribes of Israel. Those days shall be shortened. So you gotta shorten these days. That's why I say in Hosea 9:17, my power will cast them away, because they did not hearken unto him. And let me say, hearken unto my voice. Remember we read, we didn't. Daniel 9:11, we already know we didn't. And to this day, we still not. Majority of us, because 2/3 of our people not going to listen. They're not going to hear this. They're going to turn it off. You hear my voice, I'm going to turn that off. I don't want to hear that. A lot of you coming to class, you're going to leave because it ain't positive. It's not something that you want to hear to uplift your spirit. Go back to church. Get some singing. Get some feel good. Ain't no feel good in this. For what we done to the Most High, you think how he feel. This is what we done to the Most High. Look at Hosea 11. Start at verse 1. When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. We came out of Egypt. As they called them, so they went from them. They sacrificed unto Baalim, and not to the Most High, and burn incense to graven images. See that? They could have put Lord right there that y'all calling on all the time. What's the difference? If that's his name, if your name Thomas and they call you Tommy, it's the same person. Same person. That name or the other name, what difference do it make? And then the elite notice from these demons in high places that have this put out. That's why they got all these versions of the Bible. Got many versions of the Bible. Why? You don't need this one. We got many versions of the Bible. So some of you will never, you'll never see this because, let me see. Okay, I'm just grabbing one. I got the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures, right? Some of y'all would never, how you gonna ever know the truth? This is the Jehovah's Witness Bible. When it tells you, and I read this for some, I think they were 8, 9, and 10-year-olds, right? In Watts. This is what it says in their Bible. But it's called the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures. Many Bibles, they translated the original King James 1611 Bible into this. That's what it says. And Jehovah will certainly bring you back to Egypt. This is Deuteronomy 28:68. And Jehovah will certainly bring you back to Egypt by ships, by the way about which I have said to you. You will never see it again, and you will have to sell yourselves there, you go on these ships, to your enemies as slave men and maid servants. Slave men and maid servants. You will have to sell yourselves as slave men and slave women. But there will be no buyer. 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old laughed at that. Said that don't make no sense at all. That's crazy. They couldn't read that to them. Because going back to Deuteronomy 28:68, the very last curse, like I told you, from 15 through 68, most of us say we ain't follow his commandments, all these curses gonna come upon us. And I challenge any nation to go through them curses and say this is us. Besides we, the children of Israel, right here in America, in the places where we've been scattered in North Central South America and Caribbean islands and all over the world, coming on these slave ships. This is what he said during 28:68. And the Most High, this is the King James 6:11 version, shall bring thee into Egypt with me captivity, slavery, and bondage. Exodus 20:2. Again, another time with ships. By the way where I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And as a nation, we haven't seen our homeland of Israel again. That's why the nation, of Israel being excluded from their land of Israel, this land is talking to us in Baruch, the 4th chapter. And we read it about the land talking to us in Lamentations, the 1st chapter, 2nd verse. 1st verse, as a widow. Because we're not there. No, it says, thou shalt see it no more again, as a nation, until the Most High put us in that land. And there, when we go on these ships, ye shall be sold unto your enemies again. For what? For bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. No man, just what I say, that's what they took in the New World Translation and all the rest of them, but NIV, all of them said, nobody gonna buy us. Does that make sense at all? Does that make sense? Remember we read Zechariah 11:5. Zechariah, remember we read that? Who possesses slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Remember we read that? Let's go back there so you can recall that again. Since there'll be no buyer, listen what it says. Zechariah 11:5, it says, whose possessors slay them, kill us, and hold themselves not guilty. Look how many of us was murdered, and there was no judgment for murdering us. Not guilty. Men, women, children, everybody. Just murdered. Thrown over the ships. Got to lighten up the cargo, just threw us, chained us up, threw us over the ships, and that's it coming here. Coming here to America. Killed all the indigenous, aboriginal, Israelite people that was here. Copper-colored people. Who possesses slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Who paid the price for that? Listen. And they that sell them, when we sold on auction blocks, say what? Blessed be the Most High, for I am rich. See that? So it says, when it says, and no man shall buy you, it's talking about redeem you, save you from the condition that we put ourselves in for not following the laws, statutes, commandments of the Most High. Point blank. Go to Lamentations. Again. That's why I guess my spirit was feeling kind of sad. Thinking about all the things that are written and the things that we take for granted and don't really care. Lamentations 2:1. This whole chapter the whole Lamentation is real deep, man. How has the Most High covered the daughter of Zion? with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel. And remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. Didn't remember nothing on this earth. Earth is his footstool. So he remembered not his footstool, anything happened in this earth in the day of his anger. The Most High has swallowed up all the inhabitants, habitation of Jacob, and have not pitied. That's why the land is talking to us, telling us it's a widow, forsaken. He hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He hath brought them down to the ground. He hath polluted the kingdom and the princes thereof. Look. We didn't do what he said do, so Isaiah 47 chapter. He said he's going to do this, he did it. Look what he said. Isaiah 47:6. He said, I was wroth with my people, who are the 12 tribes of Israel. I have polluted mine inheritance. He said, I polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand, knowing what they're going to do to us. But he said he was just a little displeased, but they went over and above the call of duty.